What's up, guys? Welcome to another edition of the Defying All Odds Podcast with your host, Rafa, and beside me I have
your co-host, Jesse.
Okay, and today our special guest we have recording here in the South Bronx. He is the co-founder of the River Café, Samuel. Damn it! I messed it up. Samuel Brooks.
Yes, actually, that is the proper name of saying it, Samuel Brooks. So
I'm so sorry.
it's quite okay. It's quite
there
right.
You go.
Right. Hey, but that's why we're live. Okay. How you doing today, Sam?
I am doing well. How are you guys?
Pretty good. Can't complain. This is a very nice spot. So congratulations on opening up this nice studio, or I should say cafe as well, right?
Yes. But yeah, no. I'm really excited. We're both really excited to be here. Apart from being the first time we're recording in a cafe, right? And,
it's true.
And even more especially yours. And even more especially, we're here in the South Bronx. And I think it's really important to talk about the importance of not specifically just the South Bronx, but being able to participate in your community. For those who don't know, particularly me, I have lived in the South Bronx for close to 12 years. Our producer in the back, Luis, has lived in the Bronx as well. And I think it's really cool to be able to do something that is part of my community and something like this as well.
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. As far as history and how I'm connected to the Bronx, I'm originally from Honduras, Central America.
Yes.
I came here on July 14, 1974. And when I came in 1974, I actually was at Simpson Street in the South Bronx back in the early 70s. And then in 1975, I moved not too far from this particular cafe on 140th between St. Anne's and Cypress Avenue.
Got you.
So I went to the local elementary school. I was one of the first graduates of South Bronx High School, which is now a multi-divided school, like 4-in-1 type kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So I've been a product of the South Bronx for almost 50 years.
Okay. All right. So you're most people would say you're an OG.
An
OG over here. Yeah.
I'll take that compliment.
Yeah. Okay, that's super.
One of the pioneers of the South Bronx.
Right. Yes. And you told us before we started recording how this cafe is not just simply a cafe, but a place for the community to unite and spread positivity in the South Bronx.
Yeah, so if you look at our logo and in particularly our tagline, right, it's cafe, community, and much more. Right. And there are a lot of coffee shops. There are coffee shops within a couple of 100 feet from us here. The difference between this particular coffee shop, the coffee shop was just the entryway to attract people to the space. Yes. But what actually goes on here is that we also bring the community in here because we are providing to the community, as I call it, resources, right? One day you may see a group of people here and you may have a speaker talking about credit, talking about how to acquire a home. You may see a bunch of high school kids in here wanting to know what's the importance of taking AP classes. You might see some seniors in high school here wanting to talk about career development. What do I study? You might see college students in here. You may see seniors from the community here wanting to talk to somebody young to have them go through their iPhone and teach them how to send a text.
Yeah.
So that's the key component here. Community is much bigger than a cafe.
I see.
Also, one thing I think that a lot of people tend to forget is that a cafe is not just a place where people just go buy coffee, right? Like you mentioned, it's not just a place where, okay, I'm going to get my morning coffee and walk right out. The sense that I think most cafes have in common is people just go in there, have their headphones on, or on the computer reading a book, on their phones, and they're kind of disengaged. And I think that it's wonderful to hear that you've kind of opened up a space where you want to get away from that norm and try to create that community belonging. Was that like kind of like one of your visions when you first thought about creating this space? In the sense that was there something that was really missing from your the South Bronx community that you felt like this is a space that I could kind of bring back that connection with the human life and that networking area or sense of development as well?
Well, I'll give you a brief history. In 1639, Jonas Bronk was the first Norwegian to actually come here and discover, if you want to call it discovery of the Bronx, right?
Okay.
And then in 1841 and 1848, you had Jordan L. Mott that then acquired most of the land in this area. And Jordan L. Mott renamed it Mott Haven.
Yes.
So the actual building.
So that's how they got the name.
Oh, absolutely.
I was always curious.
There you go. So the actual building that we're in, even though it's a Brookfield property, but the actual footprint was where Jordan L. Mott had his ironwork. If you could see on the only remaining building behind us, it still has his iron foundry that he started back in 1841. If you even walk throughout Mott Haven, you look at the manholes, you're going to see Jordan L. Mott.
Okay.
This particular development here, back in the day, people in the Bronx never had access to the water. That's always been our reason why we wanted to open up a space here. So when Brookfield acquired the lot and they built these 7 beautiful buildings, we were one of their partners. And we wrote a business plan. Idelsa and myself wrote a plan, submitted it to Brookfield, said it's not just a coffee shop. Coffee shop because it's more hip type kind of a thing.
Entryway, right?
Right, but the real work that goes on is community.
Okay.
And we wanted to do it on the water. Now that people have access to the water. So that's how this whole concept actually started. Getting back to your question, I've been into the mega coffee shops. Everybody shows up there with a laptop and this. I don't want to engage with anyone. If you notice, the seating here is designed by purpose. It's not a place that you're going to come and sit here all day.
Right.
You come in, we say hello to you, we ask, are you from the neighborhood? Are you part of the building? And then we give them our 2-minute elevator speech. They give us back their reply. We say hello, we say this, that, and the other. And it's almost like a 5-minute interaction.
Yeah.
And then they come in and they go. So it looks like a grab and go, but within 5 minutes, we know more. Exactly. We know more about that person as opposed to having comfortable leather seats where you sit, you soak back, you get a iced coffee, and you sit there all day and don't speak to the person to your left or the right. So we eliminated that component.
I see. That's very smart, and I think that actually kind of goes to how we got here, and how we were able to connect with you guys. So just to give you guys a backstory. Again, as I mentioned, I already live in this area, so I'm always eager to see new things that come up here. And I knew that there was a lot of coffee shops lurking around here, a bunch of new ones. And one Sunday, I told Jesse and Luis, yo, let's come to my area. Let's go chill. Let's find a coffee shop. That's what people like to do now. So let's go do it too and see what we could find. And funny enough, like he mentioned, there is many coffee shops very close to where we are as well. And I still distinctly remember saying, like, I looked at it and I was like, you know what? Wait, let's walk up to the other one and let's just see what it is first. And you can agree with me with that.
No, I still vividly remember, like, just we find this spot and we're like, oh, this is like nice and welcoming. Let's just stay here for a bit. And then just within like the first minute of us walking in, sparked a conversation, and boom, now we're here recording an episode here.
Exactly.
So, you never really know what could happen when you walk into a coffee shop. And needless to say, this community engagement that this cafe has definitely been promoting has definitely been working.
Yes.
So we applaud them for their works in the South Bronx
community. It's what I call the power of anonymity, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Because you never know who is who. Myself and Idelsa, and I was in education as well. The last 23 years I've been on Wall Street. So that's what I always call a day job, right? So there's a day job and there's a passion type kind of work.
Right.
But prior to me going to the firm that I'm in now, for about 7-8 years, I was in education. I ran a couple of tutoring companies here in the Bronx, in the South Bronx, near my house, providing after-school tutoring to thousands and thousands and thousands of children. So I always, when I see young folks, I'm always curious about them more so than they're probably about me.
Right.
And that's how our conversation started. And then you guys said you do a podcast, you're doing this, and I say, hey, what about? And here we are.
Exactly.
Doing our first episode.
Exactly. So it's really cool. It's really cool. Like, again, just to continue on, it's just like we came in, it was very heartwarming. They were the first ones to jump on us, essentially. and they saw us. And I mean, at the first glance, just like in any business, you just assume, okay, they're talking to us because they just want to sell us something. they want to sell us the coffee or whatever, which of course is a business, but it was really quick to see how welcoming they were and how willing they were to like bring us in and just like say like, hey, like this is not just a coffee shop. We want you guys to actually learn and enjoy what we're doing. So it was really special. So
honestly, I think that when you start looking at, like you mentioned, you have your day job, but then you do this on the side. And I think it's a lot of times it's those passions and those side hobbies that we tend to put the most effort in, right?
Correct.
Because yes, I mean, ideally, no one really wants to be working 40 hours in a single week, but we still have to do it anyway, right?
Yes.
But then when you still have the opportunity, you still have that time to come do something like this, and you get everyone else involved, I feel like that's like the greater good, one might say. And I think that's something that Rafael and I both share, where I was a full-time student, Rafael works full-time, and we've done this podcast like on the side as something that we've been very passionate about, getting these community stories to be told to the greater world on the vast internet. And we're I don't know, like maybe 35 or so episodes in.
We're currently now in 38.
38.
Yeah,
yes.
38.
That's
as of this recording. 38 episodes.
Uploaded 38 uploaded. So and more to come.
Exactly. And we're still growing as a community. So
for sure.
I think that just goes to show you what hard work and dedication can do, especially on a side hobby. But kind of going back to the cafe itself, right?
Sure.
What would you say has kind of like been like the most interesting story that you've heard from different individuals from your community that have kind of come into your cafe to kind of share their story with you?
I mean, the stories. There was one particular story. There was a young lady that resides in the Brookfield property. Came in, had a beautiful smile. And I said something to the effect, wow, I love your smile. And then she made mention that her dentist is in Miami.
Okay.
One of those Smile Design Miami. And I said, wow, interestingly enough, my dentist is here in New York, Smile Design Manhattan. And as a matter of fact, I know your dentist because your dentist also works in the dental office that I go to. And she said, oh my God. So we had that in common.
I see.
As far as
Small
direct
world.
commonality. Yes. And then we had other people that were from my country that I recognized just by their last name. So the stories go from left to right. There are people that I haven't seen in such a long time and walk in and say, oh my God, I didn't know that you actually opened this space with the Delta. So the stories could go throughput. We have people that will come in here, get a latte, and you ask them a question, and they say, oh yes, I'm a professor, I'm a Dr. X, Y, and Z, and I teach at Columbia University. Or yes, I am an engineer, or I'm an attorney. So the stories go from A to Z. So that's the interesting part about the passion.
Right.
Because I always said, anyone that walks through these doors is the power of anonymity.
Right.
And you do it as that, and this is the passion that just propels us to go forward.
Exactly. And I like that point you mentioned, like you get so many different personalities and diversity, I think is a better word for it. Again, speaking about the South Bronx and how the majority of people assume that the South Bronx is just like a crowd of minorities, right? And marginalized people, they just get pushed into this space, right?
Correct.
But I think having something like this, and more specifically just showing that, again, the Bronx is not just simply what people perceive it to be. There's so much more. There's so much diverseness in it. Maybe within these groups that people, kind of centralize us in. But there's a lot of diversity in it. And in whether it's in the profession, not just the race. But
sure, of course.
In how they go about their lives.
Yeah, and that's the word that I continue to use is the power of anonymity, right? Because the Bronx is no longer burning. The South Bronx is no longer burning. So you don't see Howard Cosell doing a game at Yankee Stadium and pans out. The Bronx is fully developed, in particular the Mount Haven section of the Bronx.
1,000%.
Which is the rapid transformation that this part of the South Bronx has undergone in the last 10 years.
Yes,
And
it's
you have
very
luxury.
fast.
And you have luxury. And I remember when I was in high school, every time I wanted to go out to have a great pizza or something, I would have to take the train, go down to 86th Street, and walk up and down and shop. I no longer need to do that. If I want to come into a cafe, I could do it. If I want Italian food, I could do it. If I want Indian food, I could do it. If I want Jamaican, Latino food, anything, it is within walking distance.
Yeah.
So we have gone through all those stages to get us to the point that we are right now, right here.
And going back to kind of like the start of the cafe, especially in this location as well, we've spoken to, for those of you watching, if you remember our episode of O'Neill Cabrera, a Dominican entrepreneur who has his own janitorial cleaning business.
Yes. Shout out to you, man.
Shout out to him. Go check out his episode if you haven't already.
Yes.
But he kind of mentioned a lot about what it's like to be a minority starting business, especially here in New York City, and how his business is very mobile. With your business being a small business here in the South Bronx, what's like your best piece of advice to people that definitely want to get into your field, whether that's just start a small coffee shop or just any kind of business, especially on their 40-hour schedule if they're working a 9 to 5?
Well, I think you need to have a vision, right? I come from the world where it's all finance, and I've looked at thousands of business plans. You always have to have a vision, a mission, and an objective and a goal. So we were fortunate enough to be able to just do just that, because when we pitched the idea to Brookfield that we were interested in putting a community empowerment center here and to have an economic engine, which would be the coffee shop, that's how we were able to sow the two.
Yeah.
But you definitely need to have some level of clarity.
Right.
Or at least the concept, and you have to have the dedication. If you have the clarity, you have the concept, and then you have the right partners, if it's something that requires your partnership to be able to at least put it together.
Right.
And it has to be written down.
Yeah.
It has to be on paper.
Yeah, it can't be like some verbal
It cannot be
handshake.
you have to have it on paper.
Of course.
And then you then see how you can manifest that and bring it to fruition.
That's amazing. Let me ask you too. So go ahead, talking about the concept and like speaking about building your own local business. Like, what was like the thought process from like start to finish with you and your partner as well?
Well, I mean,
like what was like how it came to be necessarily?
every time you think of a coffee shop, you think of a very expensive cup of coffee.
Right.
So that was on the board.
Okay.
A very expensive cup of coffee, right?
Yeah.
Start at $6 down Midtown, or $5-something, and even here in the community that we're in. And I say that concept cannot apply to us because we are from this community.
Yes.
We understand the level of disposable income that people that we've known for decades have. You walk into Front River Café, you're going to probably get shocked in terms of price. And when I'm talking about price, I'm not talking about the altitude of the price. You're going to say, how is it that an amazing cup of drip coffee is only $3?
Yeah.
You know,
I'm drinking it right now. It's delicious.
the reason why we're able to do that because we have the concept that if I give you a product that is high quality, cost effective, you will be back faster than me trying to convince you that this $6 12-ounce cup of coffee is the greatest coffee you ever drink. You might agree with me and you will never see me again.
Right.
But we figure it out on the back end. So our repeat customers walk in here because it's a welcoming environment, and our price point from our coffee to our lattes to our matcha to our pastries, and you could go anywhere else and you don't have to take my word. You will come back here and say the same thing that people keep saying day in and day out. How are you guys doing it? The reason we're doing it because you've been here multiple times.
Exactly.
That's
And
true.
it's the repetitiveness. It's not the single sale point because you don't have the only product in the world. You could set your own price.
Right.
There's too many coffee shops, so we have to stand up. And we thought quality and price and community.
There's definitely a sociological component that goes into it as well. because it's kind of like you mentioned. You rather come into a place where you not just feel welcome, but also you're blown away to the price that you want to try maybe multiple items off the menu, because
Come back for more.
Exactly, right? With that same $6, you can get $2-3 different options off the menu, and now you're like, wow, I like
You could literally get a pastry and a coffee.
Exactly.
And still be under the price point of a single item,
Right.
and you being upselling, and we're not a corporate, we don't have multiple locations. This is our primary focus, and it's here, and it's in our community and for the community.
I definitely love to hear when small business owners have something like that to say, because they rely more, I feel, as though like word of mouth, right?
Yeah.
Where my friend came into the shop and that's how I found out about your place, or my aunt or my cousin, etc. And that's how I found out. And now I'm bringing my brother, my sister, my grandma, whatever it may be, right? And so now you're expanding community-wise. And then if, with the rise of social media nowadays, we see now you got a reach that's even beyond the community, right? What's that been like to kind of get people that aren't even from the South Bronx? Maybe they're from all the way out in Brooklyn or Long Island, or maybe
Harlem even, right
or
across
not
the
even,
bridge.
or maybe not even New York City, like Jersey.
Don't look too far. I mean, here we are having a conversation with you guys.
Right.
That's true.
Okay, so you guys, your channel, your YouTube, you have a very long and deep reach.
That's true.
So it's already happening.
Right.
And interestingly enough, we have yet to announce our grand opening. So we have yet to do the ribbon cutting.
Wow.
Because what we've been going through is just a proof of concept. And the proof of concept has more than proven itself. So now Videlsa and I are now working on a plan to try to identify the day that we invite, everyone that's important. And when I mean important, that means us, local people that are more important than anything, because these are repeat type kind of customers.
Yeah.
As far as social media, so when you walk out of here and you stand in front of our logo in front, that's been the most photographed picture that most people take. And besides here, which is our background, one of our partners, Mick, is an amazing artist.
Yes.
So we get a lot of photographs here and a lot of photographs outside. And guess what? People put it on TikTok. People got their own IG accounts, Facebook. They're doing it for us.
Exactly.
That's free advertisement, and word of mouth is free advertisement.
And it's exponential growth.
Exactly.
Right? So
exactly.
You can't really beat that at the end of the day.
Exactly.
For those of you that are watching, we'll definitely have their address linked down below, so you guys can come check out from River Café.
Of course.
You can try a cup of coffee, a pastry, whatever it may be, or maybe you just want to share a story. Please come down and go check it out.
1,000%. Let me ask you too, of all the lattes and coffees that you have, what would you, for someone who's just coming in and says, I want a cup of coffee, I want the best coffee you can make, what would be the first choice?
Well, we have two things, right?
Yeah.
When it comes to something cold, our strawberry matcha is by far the best pound per pound. I always challenge people that come in here and see the sign, strawberry matcha. Walk to any coffee shop within this community, taste their matcha and taste ours.
Okay.
And if I failed you, I will give you as much coffee as you can drink in that one day. And it's never happened.
I see.
As far as hot, our lattes are pretty good. Our espresso, double shot espresso. So our beans are actually roasted in Italy.
Whoa.
Imported to a company here in the South Bronx on Zariga Avenue, and then they ship it to us, drive it to us, right?
Yeah.
The machine that we use for our espresso is also an Italian model, so it's been calibrated specifically for those beans that have been roasted in Italy. Our primary drip is of Colombia, but then we have coffees of the month. So we choose different parts of South America, Central America to feature their product. So there's diversity, not only in what you're actually drinking, but then you have choices and you have countries to choose from.
That's amazing.
And that's the way we focus and try to do it.
I think that when you start looking at different options on a menu, the most enticing thing that you could possibly offer to a customer is definitely, a personalized approach, right? And I think that's definitely, you've definitely seen success with that, especially because I think the hardest part, I'd say, with like starting a business is definitely the trial and error, seeing like
Correct.
what works and what doesn't.
Correct.
A lot of times you see people, they just give up right when they're about to hit that breach, or like right when they're about to
right when they're going to get the diamond.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
And you've kind of taken almost like a reverse approach, right? Where you're kind of waiting on that grand opening to like let the community see what you have to offer before you say, I officially open. Right? Because there's a difference between announcing a grand opening and then, their first few days you don't have that many customers. But once you already get that reach, when you make that grand opening, everyone knows about Front River Cafe. Now you have an endless reach of customers coming in.
And that was, and you said it right, that was reverse engineering.
Right there.
I mean, I'll tell you a quick little joke. So when people walk in here and they look at our pastry display as an example, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're not going to see 40 different choices of a lot of different things, right?
Right.
You're going to walk in there, you're going to probably see 3-4 different choices, but guess what? Everything that you see there is acquired locally. Our bakery is right on Exterior Avenue, which is about a 8-minute drive, so it's again local.
Community.
Our crawlers come from our sister friend Motley Kitchen. So everything that you see here, so when people walk in and say, did I get here on time? Oh yes, you still got 3 croissants left. Because they know that the very next day it'll be replenished. It'll be replenished something that's made that same day. So we don't believe, even Starbucks as an example, they revamped their drink menu because you come in there, you look up and you see dozens of different drinks.
Yeah.
So what do I do?
Too many options.
And they cut it down. They went down to 30% less to be able to have more focus.
Right.
And that's what we've been focused in trying to do. I'm not giving you 13 different things.
Right.
It's 4 or 5 pastries, and that's it.
It gets the job done.
Yeah, no, it's true.
All the time.
1,000%. Me personally, when I go to Starbucks, I hardly even go to Starbucks. It's not because I don't even like coffee. I've always been a person that's like, listen, if you offer me coffee, I'm not gonna say no. right?
That's true.
Us Hispanics, that's just basically in our blood at this point. But specifically with Starbucks, you go into those menus and there's so many different options. Sometimes
get lost.
You get so overwhelmed with the option that you end up not picking anything.
Exactly.
For that.
Exactly.
Moment. So, and then don't even get me started on the tall, grande, all those different names that they give me a small, large, and medium, call it a day.
It gets a little bit too complicated.
But it does. There's always an equation in there.
Exactly. So again, going back to just like the community and just doing something that is for the people, right? Not trying to overcomplicate things and just do something that people are going to understand is it's just as important and just valuable. Nowadays you look at most companies, big companies, they want to simplify things. They want to make it minimalistic. That's the trend. That's the modern thing. So even by just your menu alone is kind of like following on that path.
Yeah.
Right? And doing something that, frankly, what people want.
Yeah. It's just a simplistic approach to it. And that's it. It's not that complicated. You look at our beverage in our refrigerator. You're not going to see 12 different types of things. You could count them all on one hand. And people already know that.
Yes.
People in the community know that. They walk in here, and I can tell them by the time they touch the door, we already know what they're going to have.
I see.
Yeah.
And there's no guess. Literally, they walk in, we already start making what they want because we simplified it to the point, but it's quality, price,
right,
and community and communication.
And
that's a motto.
You can't really give up on that. And speaking of the community, Sam, I want you to go share with the viewers a little bit of the few initiatives that the cafe's also been partaking in it. Specifically with like the books that you guys have been promoting with different sellers and authors in the area. So what's that been like for you?
So again, this is part of the community, right? We had our first very successful book launch from one of our authors. It was actually well received. Sacred Lessons.
Yes, Sacred Lessons.
Mike de la Rocha. So that was widely successful. And that was our first official book-related launch. So we already have a few already lined up, authors from our community in the Bronx.
Yes.
Then we are going to begin our series of open mics. We already have the person who is going to manage and run it. We've also done the morning cafe rave. We had the well-known DJ menu.
Right.
We started our coffee shop rave at 9 a.m. and it went till 1 p.m. and people were just in here buying lattes and dancing and going outside because our location, and again, it goes to the concept of grab and go. They come in, they grab their iced coffee, and within 3 minutes, they're sitting on the water.
Yes.
That's why we call it Front River Café, because we are in front of the water, and they watch the circle line, they watch the speedboats, the jet skis.
Yeah, especially during the time of year, the weather and everything.
Yes,
summer's definitely the best time.
And then once a month, we have a writing club that comes in here. They write in a manuscript for a documentary.
Okay.
We've had young kids from the community where we met two French nationalists that were here on a project that actually lived at the Lincoln Building for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And they happened to come and get some coffee, and they told us that they were teaching kids they were teaching them French through poetry. And said, hey, would you guys come and do an event here? And that's what they came in. We had a whole bunch of kids here doing poetry. We got up and it was well received. So the diversity of the programming is just an open-ended road.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Especially, I really like the rave too. Like, if my mom is not here at the next one, a woman that I know that loves coffee and loves to dance, I think it would be criminal if she's not here. So, yeah. And I was actually, Luis and I, again, our producer in the back, we attended that first event, the book event. It was pretty good. It was very good.
Yeah,
so pretty cool. And also, I got it right behind me. They also had a doggy event too.
Yeah,
right? So
that was Jeff is our local artist. He's a well-renowned artist.
Oh, right.
Got together with Dogs of Mount Haven with Jonas, and they did the portraits. They did portraits of their pets. So he did about 20 of them, and all the owners of their pets had the opportunity to literally sit, paint their own dog.
Okay.
And Jeff was giving them their instructions and guiding them in how to do it. That was, again, very successful. That was done on the 22nd of June. So again, our calendar is now beginning to fill up.
Yes.
Some of the art that you see here are going to start going through our rotation program. Right. We want to bring young artists from the community, have open nights of their work, because it's always great when a 7-year-old says, oh my God, my drawing is up on the wall.
That's true.
Oh, that's true.
So that's the impact that we want to have. And again, for us, it's more of a passion and what we could get back to the community.
Okay.
And that's what we've been doing.
That's amazing.
And the purpose of this space.
And what's great to hear is that you're not just limiting yourself to like a certain subset, right? You've engaged in art, you've engaged in reading, you've engaged with animals, right? And so, and even young children.
Correct.
And so I think that goes to show you that you could still bring a community, a diaspora of people together in just a small space like a cafe. And because what's the one thing that everyone's going to have in common when they come in here is to get coffee, right?
Correct.
That's the entryway.
Correct.
But everyone else is going to have a different, story to tell.
Different story, different experience.
Exactly.
And that's what creates the difference and the uniqueness in every moment that you come in here.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's what it's all about.
Exactly.
And I think that's amazing. That's awesome. And would you say, like, again, going to your background, again, like, you would say your background kind of like helps a little bit on how you kind of orchestrated this cafe and everything?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Like you got your Latino heritage.
Yeah, in fairness, obviously, both of us, myself and Idelsa, she is from Santo Domingo, and I'm from Honduras. So we're all immigrants, right?
Yeah.
We understood the power of education. We were fortunate enough to get a quality education. Fortunate enough to work in the echelons of finance or development. And our backgrounds, because we are from the community, we had a little bit of pep in our step. Yeah. Because this is something that we wanted to do. And I remember distinctly going back to the 70s when I tell you guys, elementary school and high school not too far from here, all of this was fenced up. I had no access to the water.
I remember.
I had no access. And now that we do,
and
we're in a prime location, what else can we do?
That's true.
A lot could change in just a few years.
Exactly.
And I think it always goes to show you that, especially when you're in like such a tight-knit community where you see construction goes up and then all of a sudden a few years later it looks nice and lovey-dovey and you can kind of go outside and you get the nice views. It engages more people to want to come into the area.
1000%. I mean again, like going back to, I've been here for 12 years. When I first moved there, the only thing that was here was a McDonald's. Literally, this area that we're in now, like, all you used to see was just homeless people sleeping around here.
Yes.
It was dirty, it was disgusting. I remember distinctly my mother would say, don't walk the bridge, because you have to go through all this darkness.
Exactly.
It was scary.
Exactly.
And now people are willingly wanting to come over here with no regard of what can be, you know?
Yeah.
And I find that so, in part it's crazy. I'll even say too, there's buildings where my sisters and I used to play in the snow, right in the space. Now, if I go in there, it's trespassing now because there's a building on top. So it's crazy. It's crazy how things change.
Yeah, I mean, it's for me again. I've seen all the transformations. I've seen the good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll say this is, I did all the right things, right? I didn't get involved in crime or drugs. I was an immigrant and I went to school, which I was supposed to. I graduated. I went on to a pretty successful career. But at the end of the day, I, as a resident of the South Bronx, for all those years, I also have the right to be able to have a great meal, a great cup of coffee. I don't need to get on the subway, go somewhere else because they have it.
Yes.
What's the difference between they and I? There's no difference. And I mean, I work in finance. I go to countless restaurants in the city, but that's that.
Right.
You know, sometimes I have to do that. But this is passion. This is our community. This is my community. And I know every single cranny. I know all these buildings. I know what was here before this was built.
Yeah.
Again, that's passion.
It feels like a second home almost.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Versus like when you're at work, that's like your work experience. But when you're here, you're like, okay, I feel like I'm at home. I'm engaging. Little fly just getting away.
All types of clients.
Exactly. Even the flies want to be here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you can't really complain. I know from experience. I grew up in the Upper East Side, and over there, I just moved out last year, and every time I go back now, I see all these new businesses that are there.
Yeah.
And like I said, and that's just like a few months' time, right? And now there's like businesses that I couldn't even imagine that would have existed in the 21 years that I was born and raised in that area. And I would say something similar along the lines of like, you go over the water and you see this nice water, but it's like very secluded. It's like you got all this construction. It's right on top of the highway.
Yeah.
You look over here, now you got this nice pathway done meant for people to go walk by.
Yes.
And I'd say that that's something that attracts people, right? Whereas like the area I was from, it felt more like people were attracted to the businesses. Here, I feel like people are attracted just because of the community experience.
Yeah.
So there's different, like a lot of differences throughout, you know, whether that's just Manhattan and the Bronx or that's just New York City as a whole.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I think Brookfield did an incredible job with regards to the public-private. They created a public space. That's almost 1.4 miles of beautiful walkway, waterfront view, and open to the public.
It's supposed to like go all the way downtown too. That's what I heard, like the rumor or something like that.
Well,
there's
all types of rumors that they're going to dredge the water so that another ferry stops good here because of all the buildings. I mean, within Brookfield Properties, they have 7 buildings?
Yeah.
You're talking about a little over 1,300 apartments, and that was the first, what we call in Spanish la bandera, the first flag that was planted, and after that, development just started happening left and right.
Crazy.
And I'd say, like, you know, the closest thing I could think of is the 4 years I was at Columbia, we had Riverside Park, and so I'd go run Riverside, and those are amazing views all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And that literally spans from all the way Washington Heights, like all the way uptown. It goes all the way down.
Even when you drive down there, it's so cool.
And that's like a gorgeous view. And then coming here for like the first few times and Rafael's showing me the area, I was like, I didn't even know this existed.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you too. Like, I mean, I know this is our podcast, but I'm gonna ask you a question, bro. Like, genuinely, because like you said, like, what was your experience coming here? Because you don't come up here.
No, yeah,
Really.
I mean,
You drive by here.
Yeah.
But that's not like that's as far as it goes.
I would say, like, walking around this area, I definitely feels, very reminiscent, close to kind of like that Riverside Park feeling, where you got this nice view of like the waterway, and you could kind of feel the community in the air.
Right.
And I'd say a lot of neighborhoods are like that in Manhattan. You could kind of sense the community that exists within those neighborhoods. When you come up here, it's definitely more like vibrant, I'd say, and especially seeing all this new construction. It's amazing to see how, like you said, you came in 2011, and now 14 years later, you got all these new buildings, all these new people, and
this is a spot to be.
new stories to tell. So
Listen, this is it. You sit on the water. You can literally leave here and have a great meal. You could subway. You could take the overpass, be in Harlem in 2 minutes. You could walk to the 6th train.
Yep.
One stop, you're 125th Street. You could go to the 405 train on Grand Concourse. So everything is within walking distance.
And I will say it's also more convenient for myself, being that I live in upstate New York, so the Bronx is a little bit closer.
You're welcome, man. And it's funny too, like even going back, like again, like I remember when I first moved here, and my mom if she was here, she would definitely agree. I hated it, 1000%. I hated it. I did not like this place, and not even because it was the Bronx. It had nothing to do. Personally, I was raised in Washington Heights, and again, if I'm Dominican, that's Dominican Disneyland in my eyes. So I felt so comfortable there, especially I'm so young and had all my friends over there. And I really genuinely had to learn to love this place, learn to appreciate what was actually happening and what I was able to, all the opportunities that I was given indirectly just for moving out here, and then inevitably where I ended up going to school, which all my schools were always in Manhattan.
Yeah.
But yeah, like again, just seeing over time how everything has changed and everything has turned for the better. It's super cool. And I mean, people even give this place a name now called Soul Bro. Like, me personally, I don't like that. I feel that's way too tacky. But the fact that people are people are acknowledging and seeing it.
Yeah. Well, the besides the glass towers that you see.
Yes.
Mott Haven Historic District was designated a historic landmark back in 1969, along with Greenwich Village and what have you.
Okay.
The difference between the two was just the zip code, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the notoriety on that side and on this side. And you walk 2 minutes east, you have the Mott Haven East Historic District. And then you walk 3 blocks up, you got the Bertine Historic District. So we have 3 historic districts right here within a 4-minute walking distance from each other.
Okay.
We have one of the Carnegie libraries, the Mott Haven Library.
Right, yeah.
We celebrated their 56-year anniversary. So there's a lot of deep history. I mean, the Bronx back in the day was the piano manufacturing center of the United States. We had over 43 piano manufacturers just in some of the old buildings. You look at the clock tower, you look at all these other old buildings.
That's true, yeah.
They used to be a place where pianos are being manufactured. We have some of the oldest townhouses in all of the Bronx. Again, 3-minute walk from front River Café. So there's deep history within this community. Again, it's not just about coffee.
Yeah.
Coffee was a Trojan horse.
I see.
And then when those doors open, then you have the community.
Exactly.
And that's the
That's a good way
concept
to put it.
behind front River
exactly. I
Café.
mean, you never know what's going to happen without having an open mind. So
There you go.
there you go.
No, that's awesome. Okay.
But
and lastly, I'll just put it like this. What things, again, you have yet to officially have your grand opening.
Correct.
But what are some things that you're looking forward to in the next coming months, years, or certain things that you would like to kind of do while you have this, now that you have this, I should say, moving forward?
Yeah, well, I mean, the way we see it, this is just a platform, right? We're going into literally the first year,
Right.
the first 3 months of operation. So the way we envision this is we gave birth to a child.
Okay.
It's still a baby. We're not feeding that child. Eventually it's going to grow, start walking and running. When it gets to that point where we can then walk away from it, right? Because we've already created something, and let some other individuals continue the tradition, because we're committed here for a period of time. I think it's about 10 years.
I see.
So that's what we want to build, the go-to place, yes, for great coffee, but also the go-to place where you can literally have an event or be part of an event that's educational in nature.
I see.
And it could be as diverse as you could possibly want to imagine.
Okay.
And here you guys are again.
And yeah, and
Where they're the nucleus, I guess you could say.
There you
Yeah,
go.
so
We're the
There you
nucleus
go.
to start it all.
There you go.
So I think it's really cool to be a part of something so early.
that's
right?
true.
Absolutely.
At the very beginning of it.
Yeah.
That's it.
But without further ado, I think this has been great, and we appreciate you for having us here, especially for hosting us in this lovely space of yours.
Yes.
Um,
Hopefully more to come.
Exactly.
You know?
So stay tuned for those of you watching.
No, thank you guys for really taking us up on the offer.
Absolutely.
And you actually came through.
Yeah.
And you've actually done it.
Yeah, yeah.
And here I am, and we're having a conversation.
We are men of our word.
There
Exactly.
you go.
There you go.
That's all we got. Your word is your bond.
Exactly. Again, and just so you can tell everybody just clearly where they can find this place exactly.
So the Front River Cafe is located at 2385 3rd Avenue. It's literally in the Bankside building. So you cannot miss us. Our logo is clearly displayed. We are the coffee shop closest to the water. So there's no confusion. So it is Front River Cafe, 2385 3rd Avenue.
All right, you guys heard it here first. So if you guys are ever in New York City or the South Bronx, just specifically,
Yes.
please go check out Front River Cafe. We'll have their links down below, so you can go check them out and see any other initiatives that they might be hosting sometime soon in your area.
Yes, and if you're in the area and you see me, don't be afraid
Don't
to say
be
hi.
afraid of-
Don't be afraid to say hi. Like,
I'll leave a train right away.
Exactly.
But without further ado, this is your host Jesse signing off.
Your boy Rafa as always. And
Sam Brooks, Front River Cafe.
yes, sir.
There you go. Remember to always defy all the odds. Thank you guys for joining.
Deuces.
Thanks.